Hello and welcome to Bible Study with Alice, and today we're on day 3, Ruth 3 of our daily Ruth reading. We're reading from the ESV translation, but you're more than welcome to join us from a different translation. As you can see, we are on Ruth 3. These videos are filmed in real time. Today's date is the 4th of May 25 and it's a Sunday. Happy Sabbath day if you celebrate your Sabbath day on a Sunday. If you don't, I hope you have a wonderful Sunday. You can find the previous 2 chapters of Ruth in the playlist below. There is a disclaimer as usual, and that is one, these videos are unedited and also probably stumbling my wording, which more than likely will happen. I will give you that. Let's get started. Ruth and Boaz at the threshing floor. Then Naomi, her mother-in-law, said to her, "My daughter, should I not seek rest for you, that it may be well with you? Is not Boaz our relative, with whose young woman you were? See, he is not winnowing barley tonight at the threshing floor. Wash therefore and anoint yourself, and put on your cloak, and go down to the threshing floor. But do not make yourself known to the man until he has finished eating and drinking. But when he lies down, observe the place where he lies. Then go and cover his feet and lie down, and he will tell you what to do." And she replied, "All that you say I will do." So she went down to the threshing floor and did just as her mother-in-law had commanded her. And when Boaz had eaten and drunk, and his heart was merry, he went to lie down at the end of the heap of grain. Then she came softly and uncovered his feet and lay down. At the midnight the man was startled and turned over, and behold, a woman lay at his feet. He said, "Who are you?" And she answered, "I am Ruth, your servant. Spread your rings over your servant, for you are a redeemer." And he said, "May you be blessed by the Lord, my daughter. You have made this last kindness greater than the first, in that you have not gone after young men, whether rich or poor. And now, my daughter, do not fear. I will do for you all that you ask. For all my fellow townsmen know that you are a worthy woman, and it is true that I am a redeemer, yet there is a redeemer nearer than I. Remain tonight, and in the morning, if he will redeem you, good, let him do it. But if he is not willing to redeem you, then as the Lord lives, I will redeem you. Lie down until the morning." She lay at his feet until the morning, but arose before one could recognize another. And he said, "Let it not be known that the woman came to the threshing floor." And he said, "Bring the garment you are wearing and hold it out." So she held it, and he measured out 6 measures of barley and put it on her. Then she went into the city, and when she came to her mother-in-law, she said, "How did you fare, my daughter?" Then she told her all that the man had done for her, saying, "These 6 measures of barley he gave to me, for he said to me, 'You must not go back empty-handed to your mother-in-law.'" She replied, "Wait, my daughter, until you learn how the matter turns out, for the man will not rest, but will settle the matter today." So that is 3 complete, and tomorrow we will be doing 4. So there's a couple of things I want to talk about first, or the main things I want to talk about first is the main point of where it says at the top, Ruth and Boaz at the threshing floor. So I want to talk to you about that, because obviously, what is a threshing floor? Unless you actually know, then that's fine. I have to admit, I do actually know. But I do actually have my Bible dictionary, my Young's Bible dictionary here. And I'm going to tell you what it says. I'll read it first and then I'll show you, because it's actually easier, because I'm probably a bit difficult to do it. So a threshing or threshing floor, the latter is a flat place on a very hard soil, or better on rock where grain was threshed in one of several ways, by beating the flail or by oxen who drew wood sleds with knot bottoms over the grain. When the canals were loosened from the stalks, wooden shovels or forks were used to toss the grain and chaff so that a strong wind would blow the chaff away and the canals would fall below and be collected. So basically, in no different way of describing it, it's basically talking about like a barley field, like a field that you have with barley in. Because obviously they mentioned about barley, in particular, when she went back to her mother-in-law, Naomi. Where is it? That she was given where is it? 6 measures of barley. So Boaz had given her 6 measures of barley, and obviously you would have had to get that from a field. So in no other way of explaining it, a threshing floor is no different than a barley field, in the most basic way of explaining it, without getting too complicated. It's basically that. So from a beginner's perspective, you could just basically see a threshing floor as a barley field. Best way to explain it in the simplest way going. Threshing floor, barley field. So basically it's like a field, basically. And so we have to kind of go back. So we kind of established that a threshing floor is basically a field. More to precise, a barley field. So we've established that, which is quite good. So obviously, Naomi, being the mother-in-law, has said to Ruth that she should basically go and see what happens with her and Boaz. So it seems like Boaz is from Naomi's perspective, is that Boaz is a good match for her. He seems to be somebody that's got some kind of wealth, more wealth than what they currently got, because they obviously don't have anybody. Because as we know from chapter 1, that Naomi was a widow, and so was Ruth. So Naomi had lost her husband and her 2 boys, and that Ruth has also obviously lost, her husband as well. And so Naomi's obviously thought, I've got no husband, I've got no children, I've literally just got myself and my daughter-in-law Ruth. Because obviously the other daughter-in-law, even though I said that Naomi had 2 boys, her other son, his wife, which was Oprah, had gone back to her mum and dad. And so Naomi was expecting that Naomi was expecting that Oprah and Ruth would both go back to their parents and live out their lives with their parents, and then potentially meet new husbands and what have you. But Oprah did go back to her parents. Ruth, on the other hand, remained loyal to Naomi because she felt that she had that loyalty to her, being her mother-in-law, being the mother of her husband. And, they spent obviously quite some time together. And she just felt that she needed to remain loyal to her. And the fact that Naomi lost everything. She's got no husband, no children. I mean, okay, Ruth's got no husband as well. Obviously, no children as well. So she got nothing. They both got nothing, basically. And they just wanted, Ruth just felt that it was more suitable to stay with her mother-in-law than it was to go back to her parents. And Naomi then obviously saw that Boaz would have been a suitable candidate as being Ruth's new husband, and because Naomi had seen that, she then thought, well, what best way of doing it is to meet him down in the threshing floor, and which is basically the field, and he's going to get drunk and he's going to be eating a lot and get very merry and all that, and he's going to fall asleep, and by him falling asleep, he's then going to obviously have this woman, Ruth, who's going to come along and just lie at his feet to show that she is a worthy woman to this man, and show that she is the suitable candidate of being a potential wife. I don't think anybody in any modern day times would actually go to a field and lie at their potential husband's feet, though. But obviously, biblical times, they did. And when Boaz woke up, he was obviously taken aback by the fact that there's this woman at his feet, because obviously he knew somebody was there but he didn't know who, and was obviously a bit surprised and a bit startled to discover it was Ruth that was at his feet. And obviously she had introduced herself to Boaz, that she is, as she said, I am Ruth, which I think it's on the other page. Oh no, it is here. It is in 9. He said, "Who are you?" And she answered, "I am Ruth, your servant. Spread your wings over your servant, for you are a redeemer." So obviously he was completely taken aback at this point, because he was like, why are you here when you could potentially have a much younger gentleman as your potential husband? The thing is, obviously we all know age is just really a number. Unless it's just me that thinks that. But obviously there are a lot of younger women that do end up marrying older men, generally because of wealth and money and status and stuff. And sometimes, though, some other women will get with an older gentleman because they just happen to love that older person. You just can't help who you fall in love with. And even though those external bits around you, like friends, family, work colleagues, whoever, they're like, oh, that woman's after that man for their money, and it's probably not the case. You can actually be married to an older gentleman and just be happy and be in love. That's literally how that can be. So obviously in this point, she knows that he's going to have some kind of money and some kind of wealth, so at least she's got somebody to protect her and provide for her, because she's got nobody. She's obviously got to look out and seek out food for herself, and do all sorts of other things to get that money and get that food, so herself and Naomi have food so they can live, because you still need food to eat. You still need to be able to live and survive. So obviously when he then discovered that she was at his feet and all that, she didn't want obviously people to know that. So that's why it said at the top in 14, so she lay at his feet until morning and arose before one could recognise another. So she didn't really want Boaz to recognise her, because it can then be deemed as a bit like, ooh, because obviously I'm going to say this, and I probably haven't done this myself, but obviously when you've been drunk, okay, I haven't done this myself, but when you've been drunk and you potentially have a one-night stand, which I've never done, so I can't really answer this one, but when you have a one-night stand with somebody or sleep with somebody, and you might do, and you might end up liking that person and then end up in a fully committed relationship with them. Who knows? But obviously I'm not saying that they slept together, obviously, in that way. But what I'm saying is, when people do that, they kind of like wake up, oh my gosh, what have I just done? I don't want to be recognised because they're going to, they probably will remember me and will try and seek me out. Let's get up and go off. But obviously she didn't want people to recognise her. She didn't want Boaz to actually recognise her, but obviously he did. He did recognise her. He did obviously discover who she was, because obviously, as we know, he gave her 6 measures of barley so she can take that home to herself. So she got it for herself to give to herself and Naomi, so they got something to eat, because they're obviously at this point hungry and need food, and thought, what's the best way to do it? But as we know, as we get into the next part of the story, that he does seek her out and does want to be with her, because he found that she was a suitable candidate and thought, actually, I do want to be with you, I do want this relationship with you. And it's one of those where, even though he's an older gentleman, he's still taken an interest in her as well, and he thought she was a good person, and he even thought she was a worthy woman, because she's loyal to Naomi. She didn't have to be. She could have gone back to her parents, but she remained loyal to Naomi throughout. Naomi, in her mind, was the most important person, and she just wanted to seek her out and stay with her and stay safe with her, because she knew that she had nobody else if she didn't, and her life could have been completely different if she'd gone back to her parents' home. Because if she's gone back to her parents' home, that's not exactly going to be helpful for her, because that's going to be a case of like, well, gone back home now, it might not be a beneficial situation for her to be in with her parents. They might not be in a situation that, obviously at this point, that you can't get probably any worse than wanting to seek out a new husband because your mother-in-law said so, because you got no man to protect and provide. But her life could be completely different. I mean, she could have been seen as some kind of awful person by her parents. Her parents might have shunned her because of the fact that she had no husband now, and that her whole male lineage sort of thing, like her husband, her brother-in-law, her father-in-law, all died. They might be thinking, what did they do to have potentially caused it? Because that's the other thing. Because obviously we don't actually know how they actually died. People could see that as a bit of they've done it in a malicious way, and it might have not been that at all. So with chapter 3, it's just basically talking about how she'd gone down to the threshing floor, which is a barley field, and basically wanted to seek out Boaz in a way where she could kind of show him that she's a worthy woman of him, and that she could be that potential candidate. That's basically how chapter 3 comes across. So tomorrow we'll be on to chapter 4, which is the last chapter in the book of Ruth. I have said that book of Ruth is actually quite a short book in comparison to what we've covered in the book of Psalms and in the book of Proverbs. So, there are going to be literally 4 videos in the playlist for Ruth when I do this one tomorrow. And then on Tuesday, we will be moving on to Esther, and we'll be doing Esther for the next 10 days from that point. And then I will think on what we will do next. I've got a couple of ideas what we're going to do next, but I just thought we'd just do the women of the Bible first, because they also have their stories that they need to be told and how they become important women of the Bible. So I just wanted to make sure that, we cover that first, because they're still important. They still have their story that needs to be heard in the Bible, I mean, there's just 2 women that has an actual book, and their story still is very, very important. So we are on day 3, and we're on the 4th of the 5th, 25th. So thank you for watching. Please like my content, please subscribe to my channel, and please turn on the notification bell so you get notified of content like this that gets uploaded to the channel. Thank you and goodbye.